Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about depression, what it is, how it can affect an individual, and also give you 5 fundamental things that you can do to potentially help if you have depression or if you know someone who does. I'll start by saying that I'm not a qualified medical practitioner, but I've had depression pretty much all my life and have had and continue to have lots of experience with it in my day-to-day life. And it's something that's always with me, and sometimes it can be a real struggle to handle. Now, I've seen doctors, psychiatrists, hypnotherapists, AcuPuncturists, if that's a word, and wanted to kind of do a video that may be able to offer up some different solutions to try and help you through these dark times. Now, I also want to say I don't want to preach. That's the one thing I don't want to do and say, hey, these things help me, so naturally they're going to help you. Try my tips only if you feel that there's something that you want to do. If you don't enjoy them, then at the very least I hope that this video will empower you to try out some of your own tips and techniques. In fact, why not leave me some in the comment section? Let me know if they have worked for you, and I'll even try some of your suggestions and I'll make a video on them and let you know how I got on. Okay, so let's get started. So, what is depression? According to the UK Mind website, depression is a low mood which can last for a prolonged period of time. Now, it can affect an individual's day-to-day life on a small or a larger scale. Whilst the smallest elements of depression might not totally stop lifestyle, work or activities, it might make these things that were normally no problem harder than they were before. Now, in its strongest form, depression can be somewhat more detrimental and can even lead to self-harm and into the more extreme areas of suicidal thoughts and or tendencies. The Mental Health UK website in 2020 states that depression is not brought on by just a singular cause and is comprised and dependent on several different factors. Now, it can be quite difficult for many to pinpoint just what the underlying issue is. Although there are many factors, the most likely could be any combination of the following: changes in hormones, family environment, childhood lifestyle and illnesses. Now, although these are all contributors, it's also important to recognise that those who may have had some form of brain injury or dementia will also experience frequent changes in mood, and any depression could be quite severe due to the onset of the illness and its day-to-day variance. And also, statistically, 1 in 10 of us in the UK will experience depression at some point in our lives. Now, as human beings, we all have periods of sadness and emotional reactions to perfectly normal life events. Now, this could be breaking up with a partner, worries about money, job, stability, exams, family, making a mistake, altercations or arguments with others. Now, these are all deemed as, again, normal, and the emotions felt essentially are the brain's way of coping with the event. But gradually the feelings start to fade away after a while, and healing can occur naturally, allowing us to carry on. Being depressed, however, means that these feelings persist and do not go away, lingering, often interfering with how we feel about ourselves, the world and the people around us. So, what are the most common changes that depression can make in a person, and how might it affect them? Well, the NHS website states the following. Now, psychologically, there could be feelings of melancholy, low mood and self-esteem issues. The individual may be more prone to emotional outbursts of anger and or becoming tearful. Again, personal motivation may be low, making it harder to want to do things that were once enjoyable, and particularly important tasks that are deemed important or necessary. Finally, anxiety and worry may increase and could lead to suicidal thoughts. Although the latter is certainly possible, it may not be a factor in every case, and again is very much dependent on the type of depression, its individual manifestation and the person themselves. Okay, physically, depression could make a person start speaking more slowly than they would do normally, and also weight may fluctuate going up or down due to poor or increased appetite. Again, this is very much person dependent. There may be problems with bowel movements, menstrual cycles for women, low sex drive, energy and aches and pains which seem to have come out of nowhere, and either sleeping too much or too little, which I can definitely identify a lot with. Now, from a social perspective, it might prove difficult to interact with friends, other family members, neighbours or even work colleagues or bosses. So if you have depression or know someone who has and are struggling, I just want to say, look, it's okay not to be okay. It's nothing to be ashamed of, and is certainly very common nowadays. And it's not so much of a closed issue as it was years ago. Partly my decision for making this video was that trying to get all the right help and support was very difficult, exhausting and stressful, not just for me, but for my family who tried to help me. After all, the natural response is to go down a textbook route, such as see a doctor for help, therapy or possibly medication, join a support group or cognitive behavioural therapy, which might work for some. Again, everyone is different, and it's vital that with the help you can build a strong support network of people that can kind of fit around you. Getting the right help that you feel comfortable with, and perhaps trying a few things you would not normally have done before over time, I've found can work wonders and can actually help you manage your symptoms more effectively and gain back some control of your life. I've certainly found in my own struggles with depression that early on I was not given the right kind of help that I needed, and this caused me to get steadily worse. So I wanted to not only give a little more information on some of the recommended help and support available, but also to throw in some of my own personal tips which have helped me over the years. Now again, this isn't a one size fits all, and some of you may not feel that my advice or tips will be for you, which is cool because we're all different and you know what may or may not work for you. At the very least, again, I hope that this video can get you thinking about some things that you can introduce into your life to kind of help you. Tip number 1. Acceptance. Now, this is the hardest thing at all to do. Admitting you have depression might make you feel that you're less of a person or a weak, but I'm here to tell you that it's completely normal to feel that way. It's just not true. Accepting it does not mean you have given up or that life won't ever improve. It can be naturally quite upsetting, and trying to get back on track might be an uphill battle. Now trust me, I've been there. I've fought back tears many times. I've had feelings that I was just not as good as everyone else. Life just seemed impossible, and still does sometimes, and sometimes can become a little bit too much to handle. And also, being a man, I was brought up and told not to cry and that it was a weakness. So I kind of hid these feelings away deep down along with my depression, and I went along trying to pretend that there was nothing wrong with me. I thought that if I just carried on, then my depression would magically go away. It was only until I started to get the right help and support that I began to view depression in a different light, and just accepting it meant that this was the starting point of me, the journey of me learning to cope with it. So my advice is to reach out to someone, tell your family, a close friend that you can confide in. I understand that pride might get in the way, but honestly most people in your life will want to help and support you as much as they can. Please avoid talking to anyone who hears what you say but does not listen, has a tendency to talk about themselves, dominating the conversation, or just says the stereotypical things, oh, you'll be alright, every dog has his day, or is overly patronising or condescending. I can't stand those people. I found them to be incredibly unhelpful and may actually help you feel worse, which you just don't want. Sometimes though, someone you know may have gone through or be going through the same problems as you. However, I have found that sometimes when talking to the said person, I get a, well, this is what you need to do, and they just try and force their own opinions on you, and they start to get really angry, and this can be really, again, overwhelming, particularly if the person is overly emotional at the same time. It won't help how you are feeling and may actually push you further back. Now, the right person will listen to you, and again, maybe slightly mention that they know what you're going through, but they will keep the focus on you, because it's about you. They won't try and overwhelm you with their stuff. And it's important that this person also listens wholeheartedly and tries to understand what you are saying. So avoid the drama kings and queens and find someone who will have time for you to listen. Number 2, do I have to take pills and or therapy? Well, I would certainly say see a doctor, as they can talk to you to try and get a sense of the type of depression that you have and hopefully be able to help make the decision. Whilst medication is helpful, it all depends on the way the depression might be affecting you. If you, for example, work in a highly demanding job and have had little or no problems in the past, and suddenly you find yourself getting extremely anxious, have a low mood for long periods of time, negative thoughts, and your personality starts to change so much that people around you start to notice, then a doctor may prescribe you some medication to help. Now, some doctors might actually offer you pills and therapy at the same time. I have found, however, that nowadays doctors in the UK seem to recommend CBT, cognitive behavioural therapy, rather than offer you an appointment with a talking therapist, which I kind of take issue with a little bit. Now, CBT is effective. I found as I went through a period where I had little or no motivation and needed a boost. Essentially, you meet with a practitioner every week and they will set you exercises designed to try and make changes in your behavioural patterns. And this could be challenging negative thoughts about yourself or the world around you and writing down how you feel. Now, again, CBT does work and help me for that time and may indeed help you in some cases, but if you have an issue that you need to talk about extensively, then CBT might not be for you and it won't be as effective, as it's different than actually sitting in a room and talking to a therapist. You won't be able to do that, and the practitioner will just steer you back to the exercises. So why then do I take issue with CBT? Well, I went through a very tough situation in 2019 and it broke me. I was hurt, depressed, and I really needed some talking therapy to help. I went to the doctors and saw the nurse. I told her the problem and that I needed some talking therapy. She wouldn't give it to me and just offered me CBT. I told her, look, I've done CBT in the past for when I needed it, but I need proper talking therapy now. At this point I was begging because I knew it was what I needed, but again, no dice, she just refused. So I had no choice but to find a therapist privately, who actually helped me deal with the hurt, anger and emotions that I had inside me. So it seems that nowadays the NHS won't always offer you therapy. I guess it depends on the person. One tip I do have here, again, if you have the money, go private. It can cost anything from £40 to £50 a session. Yes, it's a lot of wonga, but for me it was an investment in myself, and the therapist I saw was really good. Now, whether you go private or manage to get a therapist on the NHS or elsewhere, it's important to find one who is experienced and highly skilled. A good therapist should listen to what you are saying, allow you to express your thoughts and carefully challenge any contradictions in a safe space, and also allow you to really reach down and be honest with yourself. Being a therapist is a bit like being a plumber. There are many good ones, but there are also many bad ones at the same time. Or you may find that although the person you are seeing is good, you just might not click with them professionally. Therapists, of course, must use professional boundaries and are not there to talk about their problems and struggles whilst you are in session or at any time at all. They may suggest possible solutions to a problem you're having, but only if they think it is relevant and might benefit you. It's really important that you realise that once you have a good therapist, you need to commit and try not to miss sessions. Now, obviously things do come up such as work, children, family life, etc. But be prepared to put in a lot of work, as the therapist may set you tasks to do or ask you after the sessions to think about what you would like to change about yourself or the situation and set goals. There is this misconception that you go to a therapist and automatically the problems disappear. That's not the case. You have to come forward, bare your soul, be honest and be prepared to go to places inside yourself that might be hard emotionally but may well be necessary for your continued recovery. On a final note, missing sessions might hinder any work you have already done, and although the number of sessions will vary from person to person, it's important to make sure that you don't say attend for 3 weeks. You say, oh, I feel better, and then suddenly quit. You may regress, your mood could come back. So I would say attend for a longer period of time, or as long as is allowed with NHS therapists, and work with them or whomever you can find as much as you can. This is to ensure that the therapy is highly effective. In my case, I went for nearly 8 months and knew going in that I would have to be in it for the long haul to get over my issues. I kept at it when I was angry, upset, and even when my mood started to improve, as I knew that it's a process and I had to completely heal. I see it as a foundation in a house. It's got to be strong enough to hold that house, and that's how I feel about my issues. So please do not dismiss therapy, as it can be very effective with depression. Okay, on to a fun one now, music. Now, I have found that in many cases, music can be a great healer if you're depressed. A good upbeat song can help boost your mood, and a sad down-tempo song can help you relate to perhaps some of the sadness you might be feeling in your life. Now to me, songs tell stories, and I'm sure that when you hear your favourite singers or pop stars, they're really letting loose, you cannot help but pay attention. I mean, when I'm feeling blue, I'll always put on a bunch of different songs from disco thumpers. I mean, I really love the Pet Shop Boys, the Human League, Depeche Mode, New Order, the Lightning Seeds, etc. And I also like some beautiful slow songs such as Don McLean's And I Love You So. The Hair That I Breathe by the Hollies, some Paul Carrack songs also. So when you're going through a particularly tough bout of depression, music can provide a nice distraction, and just taking time to sit and listen wherever you can sometimes make all the difference and help you see things in a different way. Now, whenever I hear Roy Orbison's Crying, it reminds me that everyone has been heartbroken in some way. It makes me feel like I'm not the only one, and also allows me to kind of see things in a much more realistic sense. As sometimes my depression can kind of make me see or feel that a situation is far worse than it actually is. A good song kind of eases me back into a better frame of mind, so that's definitely sort of advisable. Find your favourite song and try and resonate with it. My other top tip is to try and learn an instrument. I took piano lessons years ago, and it really helped again, not only to take my mind off my negativity, but also to concentrate on trying to learn to read music and chords. And in that I discovered a whole world of imagination, trying to learn to also write music at the same time, and it was hard work. But I can honestly say, to be able to play a beautiful, or even a favourite song on piano, oh, it's just wonderful. Or indeed any instrument. Now, I'm not a virtuoso by any means, and I got to grade 5, but I'm just so thankful for learning, as it trained my mind to be stimulated, and because I had such a good teacher, I wanted to work hard to impress her and develop my skills at the same time. It doesn't have to be piano, it could be anything you fancy, guitar, banger drum, and maybe if you find the thought of a teacher daunting, then there's plenty of online instrument lessons, tutorials and all sorts out there. It's not about skill for me, it's about enjoying and immersing yourself and relaxing. Sometimes just playing a simple chord sequence or arrangement can trigger positive feelings. Or why not try and set yourself a goal to try and learn how to read music and break down a song, and try and, feel into it. Again, even if you get one bar done at a time, that's a real achievement, because again, you're keeping yourself distracted. Maybe you're a musician who might be feeling depressed. Why not dig out a songbook and play something you really love, or just sing. Stick the karaoke on and just have a go. Singing a song that resonates with you can really help you express yourself in a much more powerful and fun way. It doesn't matter if you can't sing. I mean, I can't sing. Who can nowadays? Just include it in your routine. Even better if you have friends or family who can join in with you. However, if you feel that you just want to sing on your own, then this will allow you to do so in a safe space, and maybe think about the lyrics and try to tell the story as you sing. Honestly, I sing all the time, and although I'm no good, people around me understand that it's something I enjoy and helps me feel good. Tip number 4, exercise. Now, I know what you're thinking, a nice walk in the woods. Fresh air does wonders. It really does. I mean, it's such a nice, gentle form of exercise, and it's absolutely free. I mean, wherever you walk, try and find a nice place to do so if possible, and as you walk, try and take in everything that you see. The sun, the sky, nature. If it's raining, are there trees? Sometimes with depression it can be hard to do this because we are just so focused on ourselves and what we are doing. Having to focus on other people or surroundings might not be something you immediately want to do. This was something I never did until I started exercising. However, what I'm about to suggest next might not be agreeable or even sound that desirable to many of you, but hear me out. It's a proper cardiovascular and physical workout. I know, are you mad? Are you insane? That's just silly. Well, honestly, I started having personal training in 2015, and I still do to this day, and it changed my life. I was really overweight, severely depressed. I slept all day because I was so tired, and it got to the point where I was a real mess. So knowing this, I went to my local gym where they have personal trainers, and I've never looked back. I was put through my paces both physically and mentally, and it is and was quite tough. My first session I could barely walk, but I knew from that point on that this is going to help me. I took to it like a duck to water. I worked my tail off, and gradually the weight shifted off. My running improved. I started achieving lots of goals I had been incapable of doing before, such as running a mile on the treadmill, planking, doing push-ups, squats, and with that my confidence grew with each session. I found that I was concentrating so much on the workout and how I was going to survive the session that I put my depression and thoughts aside for a bit and learned self-discipline, faith, and it's thanks to my trainer that I have come this far. He'll likely be watching, so I want to say cheers, Ryan, for helping me achieve my goals, and I'll be continuing to have sessions with you for as long as I can. Now, personal training is an investment in yourself. And again, like therapy, you must put the work in and do what your instructor tells you, even if you feel the exercise might be difficult or seemingly flat out impossible at times. But I promise you, hand on heart, if you stick with the training routine, your life will start to change. You will feel the joy of that endorphin rush when you leave the gym or wherever you train, knowing that you worked hard. Again, it strengthens your mind so that no matter how hard things become in your life, you become stronger inside and are better able to deal with them. Or maybe just join a gym and do something. Even if you don't feel like you can do much, you've made it to the gym and you're trying to come forward. Sometimes I know from past experience it's easy to think that, oh, because I wasn't able to do something, I wanted to do it in a day because of how I felt. I doubted myself, but honestly, just showing up to the gym and trying your best no matter what is the most important thing. And it's much better to try and do something than not at all, I believe. I know it's been tough recently with COVID-19, and many of us, myself included, I've certainly piled on the pounds. I still try and go for a walk out, a run or a PT session in the park, and when the gyms are open I'll be getting right back to it. Also, PT sessions are all about what you want to achieve, so you can tailor your workout to get help to achieve your goals. But again, you do not have to go full bore. Do what you feel is comfortable, but maybe push yourself a little more than you would normally do to keep your mind active. Tip number 5, hypnosis. Now get the image of the man waving a watch in front of you, telling him to look into your eyes, not around the eyes, look into my eyes, out of your mind. Many of us, myself included, first discovered hypnosis by watching TV and seeing a professional male or female make a bunch of random audience members get on stage and squawk like a chicken, or do something they wouldn't normally do. Now, as a kid, I thought that this was its purpose. This was hypnosis, to provide entertainment. How wrong I was. There was a certain time in my life where I had a lot of unresolved childhood issues, and funnily enough, my piano teacher I had at the time picked up on why I was so nervous in playing the piano. She suggested hypnotherapy. She gave me a number of a lady who was a hypnotherapist. Now, this person, who was highly qualified in hypnotherapy, also did other forms of therapy too. I made an appointment, I told her my problem, and she said it would take about 4 sessions. So she told me to close my eyes, relax. She put on some really relaxing music, took me into the trance, and she was able to pinpoint the exact problem, what was wrong and why. I didn't want to come out of the trance, and it was like I just wanted to sleep forever. I did eventually, though, reluctantly. I just felt so relaxed, after the session. It felt like there was this huge weight off my shoulders, and this was only the first session. And whilst my depression is permanent, the session helped ease it, and I come to terms with a part of my past. I stopped feeling empty and started feeling more confident and reassured that everything's going to be okay. Now again, not every day is going to be a picnic, but the hypnotherapist helped me see things by suggesting to the subconscious in my mind that it was time to let go of the past and move on. Hypnotherapy can help you with so many issues, and again, can be quite pricey. I mean, I'm sounding like a broken record here, I know, but it's really an investment in yourself. It's not you'll have the sessions and life will magically be amazing. The skills in this type of therapy is that, let's say you wanted to stop smoking or stop a particularly bad habit. Maybe you want to stop being angry or just try and overcome a phobia. Hypnotherapy will only work if you are capable of doing it, or it's something that you would actually do. For example, if I was hypnotised right now and the therapist said, tomorrow you will rob a bank at 12 o'clock. I wouldn't, because it's not in my nature to do that. Hypnotherapy works on a form of logic, not what you see in the movies or TV. Now, if she said I would stay calm in an upcoming exam, then I would, because in all intents and purposes, it's a logical suggestion. It's something I would do. So I think with depression, although it might not magically disappear with hypnotherapy, life can be much more bearable, and honestly, I can't recommend it highly enough. Finally, just because you have hypnotherapy, you won't stop being you, and all your likes and dislikes will stay the same because they are authentically who you are. It again delves into a person's subconscious and suggests realistic actions. It might take time depending on how many sessions you may need, but if normal therapy is not for you, then why not give it a try? You don't have anything to lose really. Again, it can be quite pricey, but it's extremely effective for the long term. So there you are, guys and girls. I talked about depression, its causes and effects, and also given you 5 fundamental things to try to help if you have it or you know someone who has. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video. It's been a long one, I know, but I didn't want to gloss over some really important details. I wanted to try and give you some more information, as much as I could. So hopefully you can take some away and try out some of my suggestions. Again, if they're not for you, then I hope I've given you the knowledge that you can find the right kind of help for you to cope with whatever depression you have or how it hits you hard. Okay, that does it for me. This has been Lucas. If you have enjoyed this video, then please like, comment and subscribe to my YouTube channel to be notified every time I upload a new video. As I said, I do a variety of different videos each month, from retro gaming to health and lifestyle, so you will get quite a mixed bag from me. I mix up my words here. If you want me to expand on anything I've spoken about or just want to share your story, then drop me a comment and I will reply to you. Thanks again, and I will see you soon. Take care.